Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall and Michael Reed, but we are joined by revisiting guest, Nick Akridge from PFF. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Good, man. What's up, guys?
Doing fantastic, especially after reading this interview Alex Smith had with GQ, which is flying
explosive
all over social media, basically saying that the team didn't want him, and they were kind of like, there was even at one point there were people in the building that were kind of giving him the whole like, oh, it's really cool what you're doing, but they didn't really expect him to come back. What's your feeling from that interview?
It's kind of hard to blame either side, really. It's kind of hard. You can't really blame Alex for being like, hey, well, they counted me out or whatever. And of course, he's an athlete. He's going to have that sort of mentality, and that's why he was able to come back. But you also can't blame Washington and Rivera and the new coaching staff because they knew nothing about him. They didn't bring him in. They didn't draft him, any of those sort of things. They knew nothing about him. They just knew that he came off of one of the most devastating injuries we've ever seen. So it's just kind of nothing. I don't really see much in it. I think it's kind of what I expected. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone feels that way. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because I really do feel like Ron was pressured with Dwayne. And when you could tell in that Rams game that Alex just didn't have his body wasn't up to speed with being able to compete on the pro level starting. You know, as much as his doctors told him he was good to go for the season, it's just his body just wasn't ready. And you saw that later on in the season where it really started to tick up, you could say. But we're going to get into that later on, everybody. But first thing I want to ask you, there's been news going around about Brandon Sheriff possibly getting a long-term deal with the Washington football team. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Is that a good idea for the Washington football team? Should they try to tag him again, or would you like to see a long-term deal?
I don't think tagging him is the move. I think that's too much money for 1 year.
Right.
He's an interesting case because he's one of your draft picks that really panned out. He was an all-pro last year, and I don't even think last year was his best year. But it was his healthiest year, which is not something we could say has happened very often. Guard isn't one of the most valuable positions out there. So it's tough to sort of swing that amount of money to a guard.
Right.
But again, he is one of the best in the league. So I'm kind of indifferent on it. If he comes back with a long-term deal, I'm open to it. If he leaves, then I don't think it's the biggest loss in the world.
Right. And with Brandon Sheriff, if they don't re-sign Brandon Sheriff, what do you think that they do at that right guard position? Do you think that they're set with, say, Sadiq Charles and Wes Schweitzer, or do you think that they're going to attack somebody in the draft, or what?
Yeah, I think Schweitzer has sort of cemented himself at one of those two guard spots. He was good at left guard and right guard when Sheriff was out. So he's staying. You got incredible value with that deal. The interesting thing is Sadiq Charles. He came in and played 2 snaps and got injured. We don't know.
Great 2 snaps.
Right. They were fantastic. Yeah.
Can't really tell much off of 2 snaps, but came in. We don't know if he's going to be left tackle. That's where he played with those 2 snaps. But Cornelius Lucas played really well there. I don't know if he's the long-term guy, but he did about all he could do to sort of give him that position. But I think you have to kind of look at with the Wes Martin deal is no-go. He kind of proved that that's not really a viable option anymore.
It's not for me. Yeah.
So I think the only other in-house options you're looking at is Keith Ishmael. But again, you never saw him. He played just center. I don't know how many snaps he played at guard in college, but he played center, interior guy. I know the coaching staff really liked him. But that's the only in-house option. There are some other options on the free agent market, but if you're going free agency, the only good one up there with Sheriff is Joe Tooney from the Patriots, but you're going to have to pay him pretty much the same amount. So I could see them going interior guy, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, something like that.
Okay.
Trey Smith is big on my list. I'm a Tennessee fan, so I'm biased.
Well, but I like Trey Smith too, though. I like Trey Smith. If it wasn't for the lung situation, I think Trey Smith would be a lot higher because he would have played more.
So, like I said, I'm biased. I would absolutely love him in the 2nd or 3rd round. But I see them going after O-line in the draft.
Right.
I think you have a lot of guys on there that have played above what you expected, and counting on that 2 years in a row is tough, especially with we got extremely lucky with injuries this year. I mean, you had Matt Ioannidis was the only guy to really go out for the whole year, and that is not something that happens with Washington very often.
No.
So I don't know if you're going to get that sort of luck again next year with the O-line, so you need depth there, and I just don't think they have enough depth right now.
Yeah. Real fast, I will say to anybody listening, follow Sadiq Charles on Instagram. Sadiq Charles is my favorite Instagram follow right now. The guy just look at his cool pictures.
He's hilarious.
The guy gets it. He's funny. He seems like a cool dude.
Right. Now, sticking with the offensive side of the ball, I know there's a lot of questions swirling around the quarterback position. Obviously, this offseason, looking for the ex-quarterback, the guy. But I think that's going to be kind of probably a stopgap year until they find a guy going into next year. A couple names are getting thrown around: Darnold, Mariota, Cam, or Fitzpatrick. Who do you see possibly being on the team in 2021, and who's a better fit for the Scott Turner offense?
It's tough. I mean, they swung and they missed with Matt Stafford. I think he would have been perfect, but what you're really going after and the rest of these free agents are stopgap guys that aren't really going to move the needle too much.
Right.
I don't see bringing in anybody from there and really elevating this team even more, which is obviously very unfortunate because we've needed a quarterback for about 20 years now. So unless they can trade up and draft a guy that they could play instantly, like Justin Fields would be my number one option there. But I don't see any of those free agent guys really coming in and doing anything crazy. Obviously, there's links with Cam Newton and all that stuff, but I think his better days are gone. Sam Darnold, there's always the upside, whatever, but he's had 3-4 years to prove upside. He hasn't shown any. Fitzpatrick, you don't know if you're getting good Fitzpatrick or you're getting bad Fitzpatrick.
It's Fitzpatrick and Fitzmagic. Which one?
Yeah. Good Fitzpatrick is a top 15 quarterback.
Right.
Bad Fitzpatrick is very bad.
He's a bottom 50 quarterback.
So I don't know. I feel it would be fun. I mean, I can't lie. That would be extremely fun to watch Ryan Fitzpatrick play.
There would be.
I just don't see any of them moving the needle.
Right. And we started a segment not too long ago, Nick, and it's called The Hot Seat. And what this is you are the GM. And so there's only one player that you can re-sign, one player that you can sign out of free agency. And what are you doing at 19? I don't want to handcuff you at 19. You can make the decision of trading up, trading back, but what would you do there?
So starting at just 19 or draft pick? Okay. With the draft pick, I would love Rashad Bateman. If Bateman slid to 19, I would love that.
How do you feel about that, Kyle?
I hate that.
Kyle doesn't like Bateman. I like Bateman. I like Bateman's film a lot.
I love Minnesota wide receivers. I love Tyler Johnson coming out last year, and Bateman outperformed him last year, and he came back this year.
Right.
There's something about Minnesota wide receivers that I just really like. I would like him at wide receiver. Caleb Farley would be the best pick, slam dunk, home run.
You saved yourself. That's Kyle's favorite player.
I love him. I dove into the first game of his in 2019. I can't remember which game it was, but
Miami.
Miami.
Amazing.
He's
he locked that game down. Oh
he is so good. If you're looking at tackle, staying Virginia Tech, Darisaw would be one. If Slater fell, I don't think he would. But if you're trading up, Trey Lance, Justin Fields are the two guys I want to trade up for. No doubt in my mind. I love those two. The Fields questions that have been circulating around, all that sort of stuff is just garbage. Trey Lance is a giant question mark, but I think he's got all the tools that you could ever want from a quarterback.
That's what I was just about to ask you next. If they did get somebody like Trey Lance, then they need to sign a veteran quarterback, right? They need to have him sit for at least 1 year because he's, like you said, all the tools in the world, just not enough experience.
I mean, he hasn't played he played one game in 2020.
I always say that this COVID screwed him more than any player in this draft.
100%. I mean, he would have had a lot of question marks coming in if he played a full season. Just because you're in the FCS, you're playing in a North Dakota State offense, which is very, very run heavy, very sort of old school, under center. You don't see under center in college very often. No. So you'd have a lot of question marks with him in a normal season, and then on top of this with COVID and all that stuff, I mean, he's gonna light up like combine drills, pro day stuff like that, where you can just see the ball sort of explode, but you don't really know a whole lot about him. There's a lot more that you need to learn about him before you can trust him with the franchise, basically.
Right. And since we're talking about quarterbacks, I guess we'll stick with the quarterbacks. A guy like Mac Jones was coming into the college football season. Everyone had him as a late round guy. Obviously, he played himself into the talks about the first round guy. He goes to the Senior Bowl, has a great week of practice, doesn't play in the game. So my question is Mac Jones worth the hype, or was it the weapons around him that make him look so great?
Mac Jones. God, he is fun to talk about on Twitter.
He is.
Not as much
Almost
as
as
Cam
fun as
Newton.
Cam. Yeah, I was gonna say almost as fun as Cam.
You either got people who would be okay with it, or you got people who think he's awful and would never work in the NFL.
Right.
I wouldn't. I think 19 is a little too rich for me. I don't. He doesn't have the first round upside that you would see in someone like Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, all that sort of stuff. But if you give him a couple years to master an offense and learn an offense, he just showed you what he could do. I mean, it was one of the best quarterback seasons we've ever seen in college.
Completed like 77% of his passes.
When he masters that offense, when he mastered Alabama offense, everything was coming out quickly, on time, accurately.
Devonte Smith said he liked him better than Tua.
I don't blame him. Devonte Smith won a Heisman because of it. I would say the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think 19 is too rich for me. I get it. It's quarterback, the most valuable position. So you're going to have to reach for him if you want him. I think his floor is very high. I think his floor is career backup sort of guy. I think his ceiling is Kirk Cousins. And
that's actually a very good comp.
I know that people hate that. Most Washington fans won't like that. But I think that's his ceiling. I think his ceiling is top 15 fringe sort of guy that you can count on to win some games, but he's not really going to take you over the top. And you need a lot of pieces around him, and Washington does not have a lot of pieces right now on offense.
Right.
I like how you said his floor is a career backup, because I kind of compared him to a more accurate AJ McCarron, who also came out of Alabama. Yep. So really he's pretty much a career backup in the NFL. So I like that comp.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, people think that's an insult, but it's
not.
No, backup in the NFL. Exactly. It's an incredible career.
Look at how much money Chase Daniels made.
Exactly.
Right.
It's the best job in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Nick, on Twitter, I saw you had posted something. I think it was either earlier today or it was yesterday, and it was PFF had tweeted out who is the most underrated player in the NFL, like who really produces a lot and who doesn't get the recognition for it. I know who you're thinking, but please tell everyone else who that is and why.
John Allen.
Thank
John
you.
Allen. I love him. Love him. And it was kind of crazy. I saw in our fan base people not really respecting
people we've had on the podcast didn't realize how good he was.
Amazing. The things he does. So the thing with Jonathan Allen is a lot of times he's not as consistent as I would like to see him. There's a lot of plays where he does get beat off or he's taken out in the run game and stuff like that. But his quick wins, when he wins and gets to the quarterback, it's some of the best pass rush moves you'll ever see.
Wow.
I mean, he's just a freak of nature. He's the captain of the defense. The guys obviously love him. I think it's Jonathan Allen, 100%. Inside, interior rushers, you're not going to find anybody better unless your name is Aaron Donald or Chris Jones.
Wow.
Ooh, that's big praise right there.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is some.
I love it. Hey, I love it.
Pass rushing perspective.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hey, I love
Make sure
it.
that's clear. Make sure that's.
I'm a Jonathan Allen guy. I love that.
So am I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm 100% all on board with Jonathan Allen. So I'll change things up a little bit here. What do you think Washington does at wide receiver this offseason? Do you think that they're going to, I don't know, double up, sign somebody like a Curtis Samuel and then take somebody early in the draft? Do you think they're going to double up in the draft? Do you think they're only going to do free agency? What do you think what would you do?
If it was up to me, I'd be signing multiple guys and drafting guys. This receiving core is
so
putrid.
Yeah, it's on the lower end.
Right.
I mean, you have Terry, and he's already a superstar,
He's a stud,
but
right.
you don't know what you're going to get back in Kelvin Harmon when he comes back.
Right.
Gandy Golden was very underwhelming. I know he was injured a lot, but he was very underwhelming. Steven Sims, underwhelming. And then after that, what do you have? Like Cam Sims showed up. He made it a couple of really nice plays, really nice catches, but he was never
also disappeared a lot.
Yeah. So I think you need to. I would love Allen Robinson. I would love Kenny Golladay, something like that. And I see them going after someone like that. They went hard for Amari Cooper last year.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't go big again. And then drafting guys in, like, I would love in the first round, like I said, with Bateman, second round sort of guys.
This receiver class is so deep. Yeah, you can sign somebody and then draft, I don't know, an Amon-Ra St. Brown or something in the second or third round if he's available. And you can still get a good wide receiver who can start for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, speaking of wide receivers, talk a little Devonte Smith. I know some of the prognosticators were talking about his body weight and his body size won't translate to NFL. I think he's going to do great things in NFL. So what do you see from Devonte Smith? Do you think he's going to have an impact like some of the rookies from last year, like Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. You think Heisman, you see his stats, and you're like, oh, home run, first round pick,
Right.
should be top 5 sort of guy. But when you sort of dig into it a little bit more, my only concern is that frame of his. His incredibly long arms, it literally almost reach his kneecaps, which is absurd.
Should have been a point guard.
Yeah. I mean, those long arms allow him to really like high point balls and make a lot of great contested catches. I'm not worried about that with his frame. I'm more worried about like the physicality. I've seen, and I can't get these couple plays out of my mind. I've seen a couple plays where he's just jammed by a corner and is just completely taken out of the play. I mean, I saw a play where a guy was jamming him in cover 2, just one hand out pushing him, and he's already out of the boundary. And so those sort of plays I can't get out of my head with him. But then you see plays where it's just one quick step and he's gone. You see plays where he's got the ball in his hands, he's making multiple people miss, and he's gone. I don't think he'll get to 19. I think someone will scoop him up in the top 15. I think he can have a great career. I can't get those couple plays out of my mind where that sort of concern me.
Right.
And now there was a player that you had recently done a film review on that I really liked. I did my own film breakdown on him, and it has been speculated that he could very well be the number 19 pick for the Washington football team, and that is Kadarius Toney. A lot of people will say he's not worthy of a first-round pick. So let me ask you, after your film study, do you think that he is worthy of a first-round pick, or is he more of a second-rounder?
I think he's right on the fringe. I think 19 might be a little too high, but I wouldn't hate it at 19. Okay. I like Elijah Moore a little bit better than him. Same sort of slot guys.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good with the ball in their hands sort of guys. Toney to me has crazy burst, crazy agility, and sometimes he sort of just weirdly ad-libs routes. I've seen him do spins out of breaks. I've seen him jump on one foot, jump to the other foot, and it's just they're really weird things. If somebody can get in there and really refine what he's doing from a route running perspective, I think he could be a top slot guy in this league.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know how much more you're going to get out of it, basically is what I'm saying. He's got the tools to be a first round sort of slot guy, but it is a risk.
Right.
And I don't know if you've dove into the later rounds yet, the outside of the top 3 to 4 quarterbacks, a guy like Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond. But I'm a big Kellen Mond guy. I think that he can come into this league and maybe be like a Dak Prescott light or like a poor man's Dak. What do you see from Kellen Mond in his future in the NFL?
I haven't dove too far into Kellen Mond,
Okay.
but he's been one of those guys that has all the talent in the world, but he hasn't really seemed to put it fully together. You don't really know if that can happen in the NFL. Obviously, if you want to look on the bright side, you think it can. You think somebody can get in his ear, help him refine the sort of things. I think he's definitely a guy I would love to take a flyer on in late rounds. I think someone like him, Jamie Newman,
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills has been a new guy that's sort of climbing up draft boards. Some of those later flyers, I love taking quarterbacks every single year in the draft. I think every single team, no matter your situation, should do it. Because worst case scenario, you trade him and someone's going to give up a pick for a quarterback.
Right.
You're absolutely right. And then one player that is returning next year, before we let you go here, Nick, is Matt Ioannidis, adding to this defensive front, where this defense took a huge leap from last year to this year. They were 27th ranked overall to being the 2nd overall defense in the league. Where does Matt Ioannidis fit into this defense, and how much does he help it?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they rotate those 3 guys in and out. I mean, they were obviously doing it before he went out this past year, but you've seen Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen work so well together. It's not going to hurt anything, obviously. Just having him sort of just kind of coming in pass rush situations, and we know how good of a pass rusher he is. I just think, again, the sky's the limit for this defense. You have so many other pieces in there that you didn't really even get to see. I mean, Matt Ioannidis coming back, and he's one of the best straight up pure interior pass rushers in the NFL. He's so good at it. There are problems with him in the run game, but you can live with it the way he gets after the passer.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last question before we let you go, I promise. I wanted to ask you about this because Matt Miller has said that there's been scouts and head executives around the league that believe that Zach Wilson is a better quarterback prospect than Trevor Lawrence. Do you agree with that?
Boy, I don't know how to say this nicely. No, just
That's
flat out no.
like, what kind of smoke are you trying to blow here?
Just flat out no.
Yeah.
I don't. Trevor Lawrence is the boy wonder. He's been touted as the number 1 overall pick since he was a freshman. I'm still
he's got it all.
I'm still extremely angered that he didn't go to Tennessee. He was a Tennessee boy. He
That's
loved
right. He
Peyton
loved
Manning,
Peyton. Yep.
and he didn't go to Tennessee and chose Clemson. So I'll still hate him for that. But he's the number one pick. There's no debating it. You're going to hear a lot of crazy things come up. That's just the draft.
That's
People need
boredom.
something to talk about. It's the same thing with Joe Burrow. Is
Right.
he going to refuse to play for Cincy? No, he's going to be the first overall pick. He's going to take his money and he's going to go ball out. Simple as that.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Nick. If you guys haven't already, please go check out Nick on Twitter. I think it's PFF_ Nick Akridge, right?
Yep.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough, dude, for coming back on and being able to share with us your thoughts on the season. You brought great insight as always, brother.
Yes.
Yep. Love joining you guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one, brother.
Adios.
Right, man. Take it easy.
All right, everybody. We just talked to Nick Akridge of PFF, and that was great as always. I love
Always.
talking with him.
Yes.
He's so good at what
Such
he
good
does.
draft knowledge.
Yes,
They
sir.
just like all those PFF guys. They just dive so deep into the draft, and you can just ask them anything, and they'll give you like a legit, in-depth response. Especially Nick.
Yeah.
Nick's just all over it.
And he's Washington based. You know, he knows this stuff,
Exactly.
especially with
Yes,
this
sir.
with this team and how he fits and who's the best fit for them, especially. Now, the one I wanted to briefly talk about the Alex Smith quote. I think it's incredible what has come about with this. So, Hall, I'll go to you first. You know, a lot of people are essentially attacking Smith in a way of saying, you know, this is him taking the kind of not tarnishing, well, kind of tarnishing what he had here. Like, for me especially, I thought this was like a loving relationship. I thought that this was two people that were working hard to get back in Ron Rivera and Alex Smith. But Alex Smith is saying, like, they didn't want me here. They didn't expect me to do this. You know, they even wanted to put me on the pup at one point. And I know that Grant Paulson had tweeted out and said the people around the team were telling him that he was kind of not triggered, but he was put off by the fact that he wasn't able to play in that playoff game. So
Yeah.
do you kind of like see where Alex is coming from, or do you kind of see this as like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, I know. I know that a lot of people were pointing to the after season press conference, the first one from Ron Rivera, where they asked him, could you see Kyle Allen pretty much keeping the team afloat and doing what Alex Smith did? And he said, oh, of course. So a lot of people thought that Alex Smith kind of took that the wrong way, rubbed him the wrong way, like the 15-year vet in the league, the guy that just came back from a crucial, almost life-ending injury, over the guy that you've seen what his ceiling is, which is 15 interceptions in a season over like a 7-8 game span or whatever it was.
Mhm.
So I could definitely see where Alex Smith is kind of like, especially in the beginning, like Nick said, where they didn't know about Alex other than what they've seen from him around the league and anything in the past. He was a carryover from the old regime. You've already heard Ron Rivera just wanted to purge pretty much everything from their old regime, other than like the core players. Obviously, Alex Smith wasn't going to be a core player going forward based off the injury. So I think that, it was – I mean, look, I'm just like everyone else. I thought it was like a lovey-dovey kind of I'm going to embrace you, you embrace us type of relationship from the get-go all the way to the end. So to hear that it was rocky in the beginning, like it makes sense that now that you like look at it in hindsight, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I mean, look, props to Alex Smith for keeping it under wraps throughout the whole season because
and being a man about it, you know, he didn't
Exactly.
let it ruin the season.
Being an actual adult about it, where and regimes past and teams past, it would have been leaking out. The team would have started off 0 whatever. All of a sudden, there would have been little talks here and there, and for all we know,
could you imagine if it was RG3?
It would have went down in the gutter, spiral to the toilet. So look, kudos to Alex Smith. I'm one of the people that's grateful for what he did. I'm glad that he was here. Glad that he came back, and I hope that he gets another opportunity, probably most likely in Jacksonville. So yeah, good for him. And I don't see him tarnishing and kind of like really, I guess, like tarnishing what he did here and what he had here. But I can see where he, like I said, he kind of gets rubbed the wrong way of kind of like, I did all this stuff to come back, and you're still going to look at me like, oh, good job, buddy. Thanks for being here. You know, like I don't want appreciation points. I want to get on the field. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and look, I can't blame the coaching staff for how they felt about Alex. Nobody really thought that he was going to be able to be playing at a level like he did. Look, he went 5-1, and look, but his touchdown to interception ratio was not very good.
Like he played good, right?
Yeah, it was like 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Look, they did win those games, absolutely. But the fact that he's taking that quote from Ron Rivera, and if Grant's sources are correct in saying that he kind of rubbed him the wrong way, that's ridiculous in my thought, because he's just trying to pump up Kyle Allen. He always trying to say is I have confidence in Kyle Allen and what he can do. I think that he could do what Alex did. And that's not saying that Alex is any poor or bad or because of it. And also, like, you have to understand, they have to go. They're trying to get better. They're trying to get more out of it. At that point, going into the playoff game, they knew what they had with Alex. They knew what was going on with his calf muscle. And so they didn't want to have a person that was immobile in the pocket. They knew with this wide receiving core, you're going to have to make plays with your legs. And I completely understand where they came from and saying, look, dude, like, no, like, we have to go with the mobile. I know this kid is unproven, but he gives us the best chance to win right now. And I wholeheartedly believe that. The defense played like crap in the playoff in that playoff game. And Taylor Heineke's arm is what actually gave them somewhat of a chance. So, look, I can't hate the coaching staff for not giving him that ability.
Yeah, I don't think you can be mad at either party in this scenario. I mean, like Nick said, Ron Rivera and them, they didn't bring in Alex Smith. They had no loyalty to him. At the same time, Alex Smith worked his ass off to get back onto the field, and it's such an amazing story, and thank God for him. You know, props to him for all that he did. But yeah, like Hall said, just being a professional and being able to keep that under wraps, I think was huge because, like you said, in years past, that doesn't happen in Washington too often. But yeah, Alex Smith, man, I was shocked when I read some of that just because I saw Alex Smith drop the F-bomb.
Yeah,
and
I saw that
like,
too,
Alex,
yeah.
You went to Utah, man. That's where all the Mormons go. They don't cuss. I can't see him cussing, you know, but it was, you know, props to him. Yeah, he's speaking his mind, man. That's good. He's a competitor, like you guys said. He wants to win. He's going to go somewhere, and he's going to really help out a quarterback somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going back to like the Tampa Bay game, the playoff game, you saw how Taylor Heineke was running around the pocket, scrambling, getting out of things. Like, look, like I said, I love Alex Smith. I love what he did, but like, let's be serious. Like, does anyone think that Alex Smith would have survived that pass rush and all that? We would have got blown out.
Oh my God!
We even talked about it on this podcast, and we said
Taylor
that
Heineke
he gives you the best chance on the ground.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke would have ended up coming into that game anyway, even if Alex Smith would have started. By the end of that first quarter, let alone the end of the first half, it would have been Taylor Heineke's game anyway. So I mean, it's kind of like,
with the way that pass rush was playing towards the end of the season and in the playoffs, it would have been like how Alex Smith played against the Rams. It would have just been like constant pressure after constant pressure after constant pressure. He wouldn't be able to take it, unfortunately. And that's where you're right, Kyle. Heineke with his arm and legs really helped this team out. And that playoff game gave him the best chance to win. So it was the right call.
Yeah, and look, the Washington football team can save $11 million in cap space by cutting Alex Smith. He is going to have a $25 million cap hit, and there is a dead cap hit with $14 million, so that it balances out to 11 plus for the Washington football team, and that's a lot better for them in being able to kind of negotiate with these guys like Brandon Sheriff, Jonathan Allen, possibly
Darby,
maybe Terry McLaurin. You never know. You know what I mean? So, like, I understand where Alex is coming from and why he's frustrated. It's just kind of the timing is sketch, you know, because it's almost like he's like forcing his way out. He doesn't want to lose out on being able to go down to Jacksonville with Urban Meyer and kind of help him out there. So, look, as much as I love Alex Smith, and I said it during the season, I'm tired of, you know, not thinking that Alex can't do something. I'm not going to be in that group anymore. Obviously, he can do a lot more than I think he can. I think he'll do great wherever he goes. I just have a feeling he's not going to be starting anytime soon unless it's down in Jacksonville, like Hall said, and Trevor Lawrence isn't ready for the start of the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need a holdover for a week or two, and that's where Alex could go.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And regardless, just imagine that, man, what he did for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I know sitting a year really helped Mahomes, but just Alex Smith being able to translate the offense and what defenses are trying to do to you and everything with Trevor Lawrence and his skill set. Like, that's just that would be amazing.
That would be dangerous. Absolutely.
Very
now,
dangerous.
I've said it many times. I thought Alex, because of his relationship with Dan, would come into the front office and kind of work for the Washington football team.
I always thought that
that's not in the cards anymore, fellas. I think that ship has sailed away.
That's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing before we get into our fan questions, as always, there was something that came across the pipeline, and that was that Jeff Bezos is apparently eyeing the ability to become the majority owner of the Washington football team. Reed, judging by your laugh, it seems like you're all for it.
No, am I? I feel like Jeff Bezos is the ultimate supervillain. Like I feel like he should. He's like a real life.
Have you
like-
ever heard him laugh?
No, but I'm sure it's maniacal.
Yeah, it
exactly. I'm sure it's terrible. The dude's got. I feel like he has Joker brain. I diagnosed my son with that, and that's just where like James has Joker brain. Like sometimes he's just laughing, then next thing you know, he's doing something destructive. Like, and you're just like, all right, Bezos, calm down. But the one cool thing I will say, and I've said this before, is imagine an Amazon's football stadium. I guarantee that would be the best stadium in the NFL, hands down. You would be delivered beer. There'd be robots. There'd be drones. You would have an app where you get Amazon primed chicken tenders, and it would be amazing. I will say that the roof just floats off. It doesn't even retract.
Right, it just floats off. It goes sits on the
and then it goes
Potomac
and
somewhere.
delivers packages and comes back.
The roof is just a bunch of drones that come together and form a roof, and then just separate and deliver back.
Then they separate and go drop.
I could actually see that. That's
They
crazy.
go drop off your sweatshirt that you ordered 2 weeks ago that you were promised to get in 2 days.
Right. No, honestly, it scares the hell out of me with Bezos. You know,
He's terrifying.
everyone went after Snyder for having 980, owning that. So like he kind of had the ability to kind of guide the news that was coming out that way, like almost like propaganda in a way. Well, Bezos, I know he just resigned from the board of the Washington Post, but you don't
Is
think
it Bezos or Bezos?
I don't know. I just call him Bezos.
Okay.
It's just easier to say it. But honestly, he still has his fingerprints all over the Washington Post. And I really don't want to have the owner of the Washington football team being able to kind of guide what's coming out about the Washington football team.
Yeah.
As much as Dan has been an eyesore, one other aspect of this is Jason Wright was brought in by Dan Snyder, was Roger Goodell's guy, and also Ron Rivera. There's no telling that Bezos would want to keep Ron Rivera and Jason Wright. Just like in Carolina, when they had a new change of ownership wanted to go a different direction than Marty Herney and Ron Rivera. So they pulled the plug. That worries me because of what's being built right here. So no, I don't want that to happen. I don't look as much money that is and how great it would be to put all that money in the stadium and everything. Nah, dude. Please
How
stay
weird
out of
is it that
Washington.
we're sticking up for Dan Snyder?
I know, dude. What are we doing here?
And we've literally been saying this, right? It's like we're in a simulation or something. Like things aren't real right now.
Right.
We've literally been saying this since summer.
Right.
After the WAPO articles came out, where like Bezos was trying to pull a fast one so he could put some heat on Dan so he can buy the team. It's happening. You guys are welcome. The Burgundy zone, Halstradamus rubbed off on all of us, and we get it.
Yeah.
I mean, how crazy it also that we all called like, yo, what if it's like Bruce Allen being the one that's out here snitching? Just,
And it's
Dan
true.
fired him, and just he's salty from the breakup. All these months later, what do you know? Damn, Bruce Allen's out here snitching, running his mouth.
Shocker.
Well, he was texting the attorney, right? For the people that
the Majay dude, whatever his name is, pretty much the Indian guy connection or whatever.
Yeah.
Majin Buu.
They said that he was on Epstein's jet or whatever, but it was like it's a different Dan Schneider. It's like spelled like
man, we're gonna go deep down a rabbit hole right now.
No, we're not.
But I mean, I feel like Bezos, he's like Mr. Burns, where he just sits by his window. He's like
eggs and Smithers. What if he had a Smithers though? That would be tight.
He totally.
Bruce Allen might be his Smithers. You never know.
Yeah, but like I'm kind of along the route of Kyle, where it's kind of like we just got Jason Wright, we just got Ron Rivera.
Right.
All of a sudden, you inject a new owner or a new minority owner, whatever it is. Is he gonna have say in this? Is he gonna like run the team? Is he gonna want somebody new? That's where I'm coming from. Where it's like, is he gonna run it as a business and not like actually a football team? So I'm kind of like, I don't want to go back and like take all these steps back after we've been taking all these little baby steps and little minor steps and even giant leaps forward on the field. I don't want to all of a sudden go this route and all of a sudden something crazy happens and we all of a sudden take numerous steps back. I'm right back down in the dumps and back to arguing and calling everybody racist. So
it seems like Dan has finally gotten it, and like now we want to back off and just let him back off and kind of just let Rivera and stuff do all this, and it's finally happening. And now it's like, let's put pressure on Snyder to sell the team. It's like, why now? Stop. We finally might have a good thing
got
going.
what we wanted.
Stop. Yeah.
And
No.
also, like, Bezos, like, creating a monopoly. They're, like, taking over grocery stores. They've taken over
They're
delivery.
taking over the world.
Let's not
Kyle.
give them football. Let's keep football
They
here at DC, okay?
already own the Amazon rainforest. Little known fact, they're knocking down all those trees and building just a giant factory where they're going to have people working for 12 cents an hour.
You're
I've heard.
ridiculous.
I don't know if that's true, allegedly, but they're going to run the world soon. Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos is going to be president like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I said that one time, he's going to be Mr. Universe.
Yeah.
He's going to control it.
And one other thing that came out over the weekend was that the Washington football team website had kind of like updated everything, and it said that the new name was coming in 2022.
So
Look,
excited.
to me, that tells me that they have the name lined up. If it's not the name, they have one or two ready to go, and now is the trademarking aspect, because you have to imagine how long this will take, because they have to do merchandise, they have to be able to have
They got
sponsors.
to design new jerseys.
Right,
more
they
than
have to
likely.
do all of this, and this is where
Logos.
this kind of time, this is where it kind of falls into place for me. And so that's why I kind of think this is the trademark aspect. This is the last step right here before they really unleash it. And look, these things do take time. And the one thing they can't do is come out and say, yeah, we have the name, we just got to wait for the trademark, because everyone would be like, okay, what is it? What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Tell us again.
And everyone want to know, and you would ruin the surprise. So in
There'd
my
be
personal
somebody
opinion, I think they have
hacking
it.
in.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they, like you said, I think they have it. They have maybe 2, maybe 3 names max that they're narrowing it down to. They're trying to get the trademarks, like you said, the merchandise. Hopefully, we'll hear something about the stadium in 2022, and it'll just be one big, wide, just brand new era of Washington football. Because obviously, sports betting in Virginia is legal now. But the thing is, there's no more really space in Virginia to build. And I think that I heard something about like the places they wanted to build are already like spoken for with like condos and apartments and like
Yeah, Virginia's getting
like
built
malls and stuff like that.
up, especially
So,
near DC.
Maryland's about to have legalized sports betting come hopefully by end of this summer into like the beginning of the football season.
Hopefully we don't
I'm
keep it in
just
PG.
saying.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm just saying RFK still on the table.
Yeah, DC.
Sports
yeah.
betting's illegal in DC.
It's-
So I just hope that by 2022, we're obviously going to have a name, a logo, hopefully like some new uniforms, like same colors, new uniforms.
I accidentally made a frown and it turned into today. So I was like, oh, just go with it.
But as long as they keep it in like DC or Maryland, the stadium, because I don't want to like travel to Virginia if I ever have to go to a game again. So yeah, 2022 is gonna be lit.
Look, man, to me, dude, I really hope it's the Warriors. And I know that everyone's going to say you got the NBA Warriors, but look, man, they don't really rep the Warriors. They only rep Golden State. And one
Right,
aspect of
right.
it is like having a Warrior wall at the stadium, almost like a memorial, like an LED type of screen where you could go and like look up your relative that was served in the armed forces and stuff like that. And it doesn't even limit it just to armed forces and people that served. I mean, you can like look at Ron Rivera battling cancer, overcoming cancer. You could say that is a warrior. Tanya Snyder overcame breast cancer. That is a warrior. Like having
Me.
that type of thing, having a floating kind of LED screen where you can look up the people that were able to be there, like who signed it, like took a picture. I think that would be a really cool aspect for people to go to games and say, hey, let's look at dad, let's look at mom on the wall when we go. I feel like that'd be something really cool. I really do hope. And look,
Jason
I know,
Wright, if you're listening, listen to Kyle right here.
I
Kyle,
know-
sell them your $1 million
I know
idea.
Fred Smoot was on the DC Tweet Team pod, and he talked about, just imagine it's late in the game and they do the howl, everyone's howling.
You didn't make up Red Wolves, Fred Smoot. I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
Let me rebuttal with this. What if, let's just say it's the Warriors, and somebody at some point, just comes out and says, Washington, what is your obsession? And you got the whole, oh. That is terrifying. For an entire stadium to do that rather than howling the entire game, I feel like that is something that is cool as hell and would be
Right.
terrifying for opposing people.
And you could have Gerard Butler as the mascot.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, dude. Bring Gerard out on a horse.
Yep,
With the
100%.
Washington Spartans.
And then have Xerxes. What was that guy's name? The dude with all gold and shaved
Xerxes,
head.
yeah.
Yeah, that guy got it. That guy, he had style. He had
He
swag.
gets it. He's Jeff Bezos.
He kind of is Bezos. in
No,
a
he
way.
is. He
Yeah.
is taking over everything, and now we're like the 300. He's trying to come over and take over our territory. We're like, nah, dude, you. I'm not with it.
Bleeding.
Yeah. All right, so now let's move on to our fan questions. And the first one we're going to start out with is the same one as always, the Colonel.
The Colonel.
Fantastic
My man.
questions. He said, will either Troy Apke or Fabian Moreau be back next season, Hall?
Oh man, it's a tough one. If I had to guess, I'd probably say neither are going to be back. But I
The
mean,
Washington football fan base would probably agree with you with Apke for sure.
yeah. I mean, look, Moreau wasn't even really on the field that much, even like this year. And then when he was kind of like not even really like noticed that he was on the field. He made a play here and there, but
Right.
so I definitely think he's expendable. He's definitely a carryover from like the last regime. Troy Apke, if they do bring him back, it's going to be strictly special teams, and that's like a minimum, like a vet minimum or whatever, like the least amount of pay you can make as an NFL player.
Is
in their
Apke's
fifth year.
contract up? I
I
thought
don't
he
think
had
it
one
is.
more year.
I think he does have one more year.
I think he has one more year. So, all right, yeah. So they
But
might cut him
regardless, I think he's just going to be cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they might cut him just to create space. But if they do keep him, it's strictly like as a special teams player because he's actually a really good special teams player.
He
He's
is.
just
As a gunner,
not-
150%.
yeah, he's just not a
Yeah.
really good NFL
He's
safety.
just not good at anything else.
Yeah. So look, I'm gonna probably say both are gone, but if anyone's back, it's probably Apke only because he's still under contract.
Yeah, and look, if they don't re-sign Darby, Fabian Moreau, I think would be a great
Yeah.
person for them to re-sign for very, very cheap relative to what Darby's going to get. He's going to command a lot for what he did this year. And I've said it before with Darby's case that, with Carolina, they let Norman walk, somebody who everyone was considered a top 3 corner in the league at the time, but Ron Rivera and that front office brass knew that that front seven was so good that they would make any corner look good. And so that's why they would maybe go a different direction with a younger rookie like a J.C. Horn or a Caleb Farley if they fall there. There's another guy named Paulson Adibu from Stanford. I love this kid's tape. It is great. I think he's really, really good. I think he's
a second rounder, late first.
Yeah, second, third rounder is where he's projected, and I absolutely love his film. So I would love to see that. So Colonel, for me personally, most likely it's going to be Apke returning, and I hate to say that because I wish it was flip-flopped, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, no, but you got to agree just because Apke's still under contract. At the same time, I think Washington might be like, we got a lot of blowback. Look, just Google Troy Apke's or type Troy Apke into the search bar on Twitter, and let's see what people are saying about him. Maybe we should get rid of this guy because the fans don't really seem to like him.
Yeah.
But Moreau's contract is up. But like you said, Kyle, if we can't re-sign Darby, Moreau is a good person to have.
Absolutely. Now, our next question is a great one from Tony Shivers, our great
Tony,
fan.
another great.
Dude, did you see he got the coffee
here.
mug from the merch store, the black one?
Yeah,
That thing is sick,
he did.
dude.
Yeah. How many ounces does that thing hold, do you think?
I don't know. Are you?
What's
What are
the
you going to
regular
do
mug?
with this? Is there a joke attached? or
No,
are you
I'm
legitimately
just
asking?
curious. I'm just
Oh.
wondering.
I never know when you're
what-
serious.
All right.
So his question is: are there any other mid-round quarterbacks that you guys like besides Mond? And I'll start with you, Hall. Kyle Trask, Jamie Newman,
No, I don't like Jamie Newman either.
Felipe Franks.
He was
Sam Erlanger
Look, I don't like him.
Erlinger?
Either.
from Texas.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go?
No. I mean, Felipe Franks is intriguing because of the size and the arm strength. He's a little bit mobile. I was on the Kyle Trask train in the beginning until I really sat there and watched the tape and watched him play, and I was like, that dude is legitly like Tom Brady in the pocket where he's not going to run at all. And in new age NFL, you kind of need somebody that's going to be at least give you the threat to try to run. That dude's allergic to running. So, yeah, if I had to pick one, I don't like Jamie Newman either. He was by far the worst player at the Senior Bowl, by far. Yeah, I like Felipe Franks only because he was a Florida guy. Obviously his job got taken by Kyle Trask. But yeah, I like Felipe Franks just because the size. He's a little bit mobile. He has horrible accuracy problems, but that can hopefully be fixed. So he can maybe be a career backup in the league.
Mine that I really do like, Tony, is Davis Mills. And there was a friend on Twitter who actually told me to look him up and watch his film. And I'm actually intrigued. My comp to him was the Manning brothers because he is not mobile by any stretch. But he has the timing in his head like the Manning brothers do. When you watch them play, they don't escape out of the pocket. They don't avoid pressure. They just hit the dump off. And this is what he is really, really good at being able – he's big, tall, and he's very accurate with the football. I will say that. I like his film, and if they miss out on Kellen Mond, I would much rather go with a Davis Mills from Stanford, who later round could really come in and kind of be somebody as a a third kind of quarterback in the mix that maybe one day could step in and actually do something for you once he learns the playbook and everything. I really liked his tape. I think he was like one of the best recruits coming out of high school, but then things just kind of fell off with injuries and stuff. But I really like his tape. So Davis Mills for me is somebody I'm really eyeing.
Yeah. I mean, both everybody you guys have said so far has really caught my eye. Another person that I will bring up who was replaced at Stanford, KJ Costello. Costello is somebody who's very interesting. He's got a tremendous skill set. He just never really put it all together in college. He's still got a lot to work on when it comes to reading defenses and whatnot, but he does have a skill set. And then the other person is Shane Buechele. Is that how you say it? Shane Buechele, whatever, from SMU.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's interesting. He's a very interesting quarterback. Just his moxie, he seems to be somebody that I would like to take a flyer on in the late rounds.
Yeah, that's a really great question from Tony. That's what we're looking for here. Now,
Shivers me timbers.
Tony Franchise wants to know, how would you feel about signing Cam Newton and rolling with Heineke and a rookie for the season? And I'll start with you, Reed.
See, I after seeing the Cam video, of the kid, obviously I just had to bring that up. For that kid's a punk, but it made me realize like Cam is a good dude. Then I watched that interview with him last night that I showed you guys. Like,
he punched Josh Norman in the face, dude.
Yeah, Cam gets so much hate, but Cam is a very good dude, and Cam's got a fire lit under him right now. He said like when I believed him when he was talking in that interview with Chad Ochocinco or Chad Johnson and Brandon Marshall, where he was just like,
and Fred Taylor.
And Fred Taylor, and he was like, I'm not going out like that. He was like, I can't go out like that. He was like, I could still do something. I would be okay if we strike out on some of these other guys. I'd be okay with bringing in Cam and seeing what he's got for the right deal. I'm not paying him too much money. Like we talked about in the group chat, you can't pay him too much money, but I'd be interested in bringing in Cam now. I really, people forget how talented that guy can be. How talented he is.
Look, man, I've been on this train ever since the end of the season. I thought that Cam would be a great quarterback that you could bring in here. He's familiar with the system. They know what he brings to the table. Look, did he have a bad year last year as a passer? Without a doubt. But my opinion, I think that Josh McDaniels has a lot to do with that. I don't think that he's that good of an offensive coordinator. I think Tom Brady made him look very good, and that is the only reason that people know his name. I just don't think he's very good, to be perfectly honest with you. And they kind of try to make a Lamar Jackson type of offense with Cam Newton, and it just wasn't working. They lost Julian Edelman early on. His best wide receiver was Bird, who is a good wide receiver, young guy, but he's not a barn burner by any stretch. And so I think bringing Cam here, and the last time that Cam had a defense this good, he was playing in the Super Bowl. I really do believe that Cam Newton could come in here, compete for the starting job with Heineke. I think that's the best recipe for success. And then drafting a guy like Kellen Mond in the mid-rounds and allow him to develop under Cam Newton. I think that would be all I would absolutely love that. The kind of body frame that he has, the kind of leadership that he would bring in, the mantra, the mindset, the dog mentality. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for out of a quarterback. Guys love Cam Newton. He kind of has this bravado about him that people think that, a showboat and stuff like that. That's how you're supposed to be as a quarterback. Look at Joe Namath. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to have that.
Yeah. Remember Cam, every time he used to score a touchdown in Carolina, would do the Superman and go give the ball to a kid? Mm-hmm. Like, people forget about that.
Yeah, I saw that video the other day of it was the replay of Cam in Carolina, and Clay Matthews on the other side of the ball. And he's like, watch the wheel route. And Cam looks at him.
And he's like, oh, you've been studying, huh?
Oh, you've been studying film. That's cool. Watch this.
Yeah.
And he runs a check mark with Christian McCaffrey for a touchdown. That's the mindset I want. That is the dog. That's somebody that I like. Uh-huh. You know that he's in the film room doing work. That's the dude I want. Look, as much as everyone likes to talk about Cam and how bad he was last year, I would much rather roll with Cam than I would with Mariota at this point, especially for that $10 million per and having to trade assets. I would much rather give that $10 million to Cam. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, you already know. I jump on the train and jump off of it.
You do all the time.
Pretty much every other waking hour of my awakeness, I'm jumping on and off the train. I will say today, I've jumped on the train. But, I mean, as far as like the whole, like, he got a fire lit under him and I can't go out like that, he said the same thing that last year, and look how last year turned out.
Yeah, but he was also on a terrible.
I know. He came in late in the offseason.
Right.
He had no
Didn't have
weapon.
receiver.
Edelman got
half their
hurt. They had
defense opted
injuries.
out because of COVID.
I know. Look, and the only thing that even like Wole said on a Thursday, he did carry that pretty much. They put everything on his back.
They did,
and he pretty much carried that team to 7.
He ran the ball well. Yeah.
Like
7 wins
literally
in a hard division too. He got them to 7 wins.
So he got them to 7 wins when they should have been like a 5 or less win team at the max. So I will say that. But that being said, nah, you know what? Like I said, I'm on the Cam train today because
he already flipped.
I know. I was about to flip again.
Literally flipped 3 times during the show.
It's like I said before. It's like I said earlier though. Like
if
they can bring in someone like Curtis Samuels, they can bring in a Jonnu Smith to go to pair with Logan Thomas, and to like re-sign Sheriff and I like Darby. Okay, now we're working with something here because we got some weapons. Like Kyle said, last time Cam Newton had a defense this good, they were in the Super Bowl. So you put some weapons on the offense, a guy that knows the offense, a guy that's going to come in, obviously be a leader in the locker room. Guys are going to rally around him. Everyone already knows what Cam Newton's about. Right. So, and he still can run the ball. He showed that he can stay healthy. Other than the COVID situation, he showed that he can stay healthy for the most part on pretty much a running predominant offense last year. So, today I'm on the Cam Newton train, and I think that for
the young guys too.
Yeah, it'd be good for a guy like Taylor Heineke, who's played with behind Cam Newton before already.
Yeah.
It'd be good for Kellen Mond to come in and learn from a guy like Cam.
Perfect for Kellen Mond, yeah.
It'd be good for any rookie quarterback we draft to come in and learn from Cam.
Right.
I'm on the Cam train today. We'll see
Tomorrow,
we'll see how I feel on Thursday. You know, I mean, I might flip back again to yes. Who knows? But no, seriously though, I do think that with the right weapons added into this offense, and a guy like Brandon Sheriff getting re-signed to solidify the line in front of him, I do think that Cam Newton could actually put us in the mix or maybe over the top in as far as this division goes, depending on Dallas.
If Cam could be half of what he was in Carolina during his MVP season in those years, this is a 10-win. This is a double-digit win team.
You got to remember, before the shoulder surgery, his passer completion percentage was like 68 and like almost 70%.
But that was only 1 year. Every year before that, it was 59.
I know, but I'm saying it was in that kind of like whenever.
But that was more of almost like an anomaly.
That was after they had added.
But you're right though. That was the last season before Soto.
But that's also whenever they had weapons around him, and they also North Turner came to him and said, "I'm not going to have you be the running guy. You're just going to run the ball, but I want to make you a pocket guy."
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Cam adapted to
what it did.
That's also when they added Christian McCaffrey to the mix as well, if I'm not mistaken. Right. And look, a guy like Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis that played with Antonio Gibson, I think would absolutely fit
perfect for this team.
Absolutely perfect. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It would almost be like my bad. It'd almost be like a new age, like Jonathan Taylor, D'Angelo Williams, where like Antonio Gibson is not as big, not as like brawly, not like a bruiser like Jonathan Williams or Jonathan Stewart was, but he's kind of like the bigger kind of back. And then you got a guy like Gainwell that can be the D'Angelo cat back, come in, make plays, a flash pan guy. So I would not hate that at all, actually.
No. And Scott Hartley, the Inquirer, a great fan of ours, he said you are the GM, and are you taking a free agent and Cam Newton on a short deal, let's say 2 years, $10 million per, with a second year out, or do you want to give up draft capital and a 4th rounder for Mariota with a similar cap hit? Reed.
I'm gonna go right now. I'm kind of like Hall, where I'm kind of flip flopping, but I'm gonna go the Cam route right now. Giving up the draft pick right now scares me, and I just think Cam is just a level above him, Mariota right now. Like, Mariota did have a good 2016 season, his second year in the league. Other than that, it hasn't been much. The skill set is there. Maybe a change of scenery will help him again, but I think Cam is a better fit for this team.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I'm going to make this short and sweet. Without a doubt, it's Cam Newton over giving up assets. That's how I feel all day long. I would rather go with Cam Newton without giving up any assets for $10 million rather than trading assets and paying Mariota for $10 million. And I'll quote the replacements. You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. And that's what Marcus Mariota is. At least Cam Newton has proved he can play in this league at a high level. And with his former coaching staff, that's what you can get out of it. So without a doubt, it's Cam Newton. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, like I said, I'm on the Cam train today. Obviously, I'm not trying to give up assets to get Mariota. Like,
Right.
I'd rather just wait for him to get cut and then pick him off of the free agent line. But yeah, look, you already know. I remember back during the season, maybe after the season, whatever it was, I told y'all that Adam Schefter was reporting that Cam's looking for pretty much a $25 million contract
That's
going into the next
ridiculous.
season. But at the same time, when you're paying guys like 35, 40 million, $25 million is not really like a lot per se for a starting quarterback. But so that's why I'm kind of like 2 years, 50 million, like when the second year option, that's like, that's a lot of money. So if you can get him for like 2 years and like 40, 45 million with incentives to like boost it up or whatever, something like that, I'm 100% down with that. But to answer the question, I would definitely rather sign Cam. But also, before I say this, Cam
You're
last year
hopping back off the train.
I'm not. But I'm saying like Cam took a prove it deal last year. Took like $1 million, whatever it was, a really small
1.5.
contract to
Yeah.
kind of be like, look, I still got it. I'm gonna stay healthy so I can get paid this upcoming season,
What he needs to do is take another prove it deal.
which would be now. So I don't think he's gonna. I don't see him taking a prove it deal when he's already proved it
Right.
last year that I can stay healthy.
But
I
did
can
he?
carry a
Yeah,
team.
but did he prove that he can play? Is the,
Yeah, and that's
the one
that's-
thing
And look,
that you
I
can
would-
hang over his head.
I would cut that right in the
Be
middle,
like-
and I would say a
like,
2-year, $32 million, and that way you could
Right.
kind of basically say a 16 mil per with the second
you
year
can-
out. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
100%
you
comfortable with
the
that.
incentives can boost it up to like 25, whatever, 28,
Right,
whatever you
right.
want to make it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, look, but like I said, if you got to give up assets to get Marcus Mariota, hell no. Wait for him to
Yeah.
get cut and then sign him. But on this date and time at 6:54 p.m. on Tuesday, I would say I'm on the Cam train and definitely sign Cam for a incentive-based contract and just roll with him, see what they got.
Wholeheartedly agree with that. Now, Mike, who's a big fan of ours, always has a question for us. He wants to know: are you excited for Mac Jones or 19, or are you like him and want to puke every time you see it, Hall?
I don't know if I want to puke. Like, would I be mad if they took him at 19? Probably not, because he should be a top 10 to 12 pick, 15 pick at that. So, and obviously we need a rookie quarterback to come in and try to learn. So, I mean, look, if they signed Can and then drafted someone like Mac Jones, you heard what Nick said. Whenever Mac Jones got the Alabama offense down pat, knew it like the back of his hand, you see what the numbers he put up. So if he can come in, sit for a year behind Cam Newton, learn the offense, get it down pat like the back of his hand, step into the season, 2022 season as the starter, I'd be all for that. But it doesn't really move the needle. It doesn't make me throw up, but it doesn't make me be like, yeah.
No, I'll tell you right now, Mike, if they do take him at 19, it's going to be the human version of the Family Guy episode where everyone took Epitaph and everyone's throwing up all over each other. Without a doubt, I would absolutely hate that move. I would not like that at all. What about you, Reed?
No, I'm not a Mac Jones guy. I'm not. Did you
Maybe
see
in the
that
later
re-
rounds, 150%, second, third round. I'll
second
listen.
round.
He's not
I'll
going to
take
be in
second
the
round.
second or third.
Yeah, but he's
I
not
know.
gonna. He's not gonna be there, right? But
He's not even going to be there at
Dude,
19, honestly.
yeah. Did you see that report that came out that said that his floor in the draft is pick 8?
Yeah. I don't
ridiculous.
blame him.
So you think he's the top going in the top 8?
No,
like that,
absolutely
to me, that's
not.
No, not the top 8, because someone's going to trade up like for
That's
Trey
what I'm
Lance.
saying. They said that his floor was the pick number 8. Like
That's
he's gonna
ridiculous.
No, that's
That is
crazy.
ridiculous.
The
Yeah, I forget
ceiling
who
is
it
the
was.
ceiling is probably 8. The
right.
floor
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be
The
like-
ceiling could be. I could see
the floor should be like
ceiling
10 to
being
12. Yeah. So
He
Right.
should be picked right around where Aaron was, mid 20s in that kind of aspect. That would make a lot of sense
Yeah.
if a team traded up
I
for
think
maybe like the
it's-
Saints or something like
maybe
that.
like 15 or something to the Pats, somewhere around that area.
Right, and that would
Yeah.
make a lot of sense. Have
Just
him,
because he's a quarterback, skill set and
And
like
look-
player ranking wise, he's second.
Mac Jones looks like a Patriots player anyway. I mean,
He does
Yeah,
kinda
yeah,
look-
he does.
You see that body? He's got a body like me. If that guy can do it, I can do it. I have Whopper Jr. hands that are really small, so I like it.
Whopper Jr. And then Mike's next question is: with pending success coming to the Washington football team, most likely the first round picks are going to be late in the first round. Just predicting what this team could possibly be. So, with the long-term scouting, would you rather that be done in free agency and mid-round picks rather than top college players? And I'll start with you, Reed.
I didn't hear the entire question. You kind of
Go, Hall.
The internet, the
I don't know,
internet kind
honestly.
of went out. Yeah.
That was confusing to me. What was the question?
So basically, should we be paying more attention to the top college players in these drafts, or should we be paying more attention to the mid to late tier because of how good Washington is going to be?
Okay. I got you. Well, you always got to do your due diligence on the top players because trades can come into factor. Players could drop to you.
Jonathan
So
Allen,
Somebody
right?
drops every year.
Exactly. There's
Every
always a
year.
player or a couple players that drop down to you every single year.
Yep.
Whether it's good like Jonathan Allen, or it's bad like Dwayne Haskins. So you guys really got to do your due diligence on pretty much every top 50 player and pretty much every top 100 player for that matter. And then again, like that's where you got the scouting guys, your college guys are like the 4th, 5th, 6th round guys, the 7th round guys, the undrafted guys. So long story short, pay attention to everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I do agree as a fan base, we should definitely be paying attention to the mid to late rounders. That's where all the money is, dude. That's what Cam Curl, those types of situations is where you can really make a mark in this league and how you can be from good to great. And so definitely you want to really focus on that. But with the free agency aspect, I don't think it should be that heavy. I think free agency
God damn, son.
Free agency is more directed. Free agency is more directed at trying to just fill holes rather than paying a bunch of money for somebody to be the guy. You know what I mean? So I would much rather to fill holes like middle linebacker. That's where you want to use free agency for, Mike. Not generally to build your team. So without a doubt, it's going to be scouting the mid to late rounds.
Yeah. You have to. And one thing you'll notice with this regime or whatever, kind of like you saw last year, they went after these low-level guys, these mid to low-level free agents, and they panned out.
Steelers suck, dude.
Steelers got to win. All right?
Steelers suck, bro.
Yeah, Big Ben.
Lock it down.
Big Ben, there we go.
Got it.
Get out of here, man. Go
2022.
away.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Me and Ben are hanging out in the bathroom stall a little bit later.
Don't do that. No, and great
He
question
left
from
his face on the back of that pickup truck that one time. Remember that when he was riding a motorcycle?
dude. That was messed up, dude. He's a man for coming back from that, though.
He's a man. Yeah, look at
No,
him. He just
so
looks
thank
like
you
a
to everyone
woodsman.
for your fan questions. Scott, I know you had another one, but essentially we already answered that. Tony Franchise, Tony Shivers, Mike, thank you. Kevin Geising, we kind of already answered that question with the quarterbacks and free agency, which ones we'd like to go with. So I really appreciate you reaching out. And then Colonel, as always, thank you so much for giving us your fan questions and your loyalty. We really appreciate it. All right, everybody, we will see you again on Thursday. Make sure you check us out then. I'm Kyle.
I might be hopping off the Cam Newton train by Thursday. Who knows?
Oh, the old dad shirt. It's black.
I'm
There we
never
go.
going to wear it because I'm not going to wear a picture of myself.
Yeah, that'd be really weird.
But maybe I'll give it away to somebody.
You should.
Who knows?
All right, everybody. We will see you guys on Thursday. Washington football. Woo! What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.